something bad happens.
Honestly, I just wanna see the goofy animals that are down there. That's
You
all.
wanna see some more lantern
Yeah, I wanna see more
anglerfish?
anglerfish and weird, like, skeleton-looking shit. I like those videos. I like when
Bit
there's a
creepy.
Yeah, I like when there's a video of, "Look at all this shit that's down at the bottom of the ocean."
Those are real life aliens,
Yeah,
pretty much.
there's one that looks like the guy from Real Monsters that holds his eyeballs. Lots of cool
It's
shit.
a real thing.
Yeah. Yeah, Laughing Lions is right. We've only just recently discovered black mermaids. We just found black mermaids in the last year.
And she got her own movie
Yeah,
already.
we're on a roll. Let's keep going,
That's
man.
true.
For sure. Dub says, "Yet we've been on the moon." LOL. I think we went to the moon. I mean, are we trying to get into like moon and
Oh,
flat Earth
no.
shit? I mean, I think
Are
we've
you
been to the
people is there people out there that still believe we haven't been to the moon?
Yes, and they are
Come
adamant
on.
about
Why?
there's all kinds of things. I've watched all kinds of shit on whether or not we've been to the moon.
Yeah.
Probably more than I should. I've probably watched that debate more times than I need to,
Okay.
and I'm pretty well convinced we went to the moon.
Well, I am too. I've never had a question. I've never had a question that this earth is a globe.
Yeah.
I don't know where the flat earth thing came from.
Here's what makes me not able to go with we didn't go to the moon and the earth is flat. Every time I watch a discussion or a debate on it, the guy who's the expert on not going to the moon usually looks somewhat like Peter Hotez. And then the guy who says we did go to the moon looks fantastic. He's very well spoken. He's very
Mhm.
intelligent. He knows sciencey things. Either I'm remarkably easy to trick, which could be true, or I don't put a lot of faith in fat, schlubby, unkempt guys telling me what's really going on.
Well, what gets me about those flat earthers and the anti-mooners is that like when somebody brings up a really good point to them for them to debunk, like, "Oh, tell me I'm wrong about this or whatever." They basically pull a, "Well, nuh-uh."
Yeah.
Like that doesn't
Or
inspire.
or they go, "Oh, you actually believe that?" And you just have to sometimes you have to power through your pride and just go, "Yes. Yes, I believe that. It
Well,
makes
yeah.
sense." "Oh, you believe that the earth is a ball that's spinning and it's going around the sun and it's" Yes, yes, I do. It makes a lot of sense. I used to just do this. I used to go, "Hey, they go, "Hey, do you believe in the earth being round?"
Mhm.
And I'm like, "Yeah, I do. I believe in the earth being round." And they're like, "Oh yeah, do you have any proof?" And I'm like, "Yeah, this works." And they're like, "Well, what do you mean this works?" All of this shit is based on gravity, satellites, the rotation of the earth, how
Right.
we, revolve around the sun, all that, how we spin on our axes, the whole thing, all of our technology, all of that shit is based on the earth being round. If the earth was flat, this shit wouldn't work this way. But
I feel like most things wouldn't work in general
you know,
the way we have them now.
RGZ Mac says it's the global homos that can never answer any of the questions of flat earth debate. Yeah, I've listened to flat earth debates before, and the flat earth people are always just like they either grab onto one thing and twist it and manipulate it
Mhm.
90 ways, or they just, and this is another thing, everybody, when they get in a debate with someone, is too trusting and they assume that the person has done their homework and is telling you things that are factual. But I've seen some of these debates with flat earthers where the scientist just goes, "No, dude, that's not true.
Right.
Like the thing you
That's
just said is not
completely made
accurate.
up.
Yeah, you just made that shit up." And I always like when the debates go that way, when the guy's just like, "No, I'm not going to debate you on that. That's a bunch of
You
horseshit."
know how clowns pull out like all those ribbons that are tied together with different colors? Usually when it's like a flat earther or something and they come out, they keep pulling out new colored ribbons every time, hoping the next one's gonna be more convincing.
Yeah.
That's how
Uh,
I see them.
RGZ Max says, "Yeah, we can." NASA said we can't go to the moon because of the radiation belts. They've said this on video. That is not what they said. Everyone always brings up the Van Allen radiation belt. There is not enough period of time and exposure to radiation in the Van Allen radiation belt where they go through it that it would cause harm to humans in a spacecraft. It just wouldn't. If you just sat there and bathed in it, yeah, there might be some problems.
I'm a little confused then. I understand like, ooh, technology and shit. When we went to the moon originally, what the fuck were we all watching?
Oh boy. Now I'm not getting, nope, nope, nope.
You know what
I'm
I
not,
mean?
no, you guys aren't going to do this to me today. Not today. I got 280 from my goal. We're doing great on Rumble. We're on front pages and shit. I'm not getting sucked into a
Fair
flat
enough.
earth. You're not sucking me
Fair
into
enough.
flat earth and moon at the same time.
Well, I watched somebody, King of All Yetis or whatever, said April thinks we went to the moon. So naive. And I don't know if he's kidding or not, but it's like, I don't know if that's such a naive statement.
Oh man, I'm not doing this with you people today. I'm going to go through the chat. I'm going to read cuz the chat's going bananas right now. I'm going to read you guys' shit, but you're not sucking me into
Oh, he
flat
is
earth and
serious.
moon today.
He's calling me naive. Yep.
No.
All right.
You two have obviously never actually watched anything about us not going to the moon. Yes, I have. And you know what I watch right after? We didn't go to the moon debunked. I watch both of them and I go, oh, well, that shit makes sense. Like there's easy explanations for everybody's gotcha on we didn't go to the moon. And you're like, you kind of feel dumb when you see it. You're like, oh, yeah, I guess.
If
When you're looking for the conspiracy, it's easy to ignore the stuff that makes it look bad.
Well, yeah. And okay, so if we've never been to the moon, I'll believe you for 3 seconds here. If we've never been to the moon, why does everyone always continue to, like, the Bezos and the Musks of the world, like, "Oh, we're gonna start developing ways that we can, maybe start to, like, have human life living over there and stuff." Why is that even an idea if we've never been to the moon, if we can't go?
I'm not fucking doing
Do you
this
know what I
today.
mean?
I'm
Why
not.
why are all
No,
the smart, rich
no,
people of the world saying,
no.
"Hey, we're gonna start developing"?
I'm not. No.
They have to
I
start somewhere.
I refuse. This is my show,
It's
and I refuse to be dragged into this.
Didn't you start this?
No.
Didn't you bring it up?
Nope. And I'm ending it. Cheeseburger Pie says, but Aaron, when you spin a ball, things fly off, not stick to it. How can the earth be spinning so fast and we stick to it? Now, the speed
That's
at which
center of
things are
gravity?
spinning are also relative to size. There's also this thing called gravity,
Yeah.
which helps the whole
What?
equation. I mean,
What the fuck?
Dub says, and here's the other thing. No, I'm not getting into flat
If
Earth.
this world is flat, I
What?
want people to deny that space even exists because to me, none of that makes
What?
sense if this is flat.
What is the conspiracy?
There's no
Like, in
space.
order to have a conspiracy, there has to be a benefit as to why they're covering it up. Why the fuck would people cover up the fact that the Earth is flat? It's retarded. Scarface says, I know Earth is round because my dad and grandfather were Navy captains, and they have to learn to navigate by the position of the stars. Right, because it's around. Hulkamash says, explain seasons to me. If we aren't on a tilted axis,
Yeah.
how do they change? Right. How do
Right,
you
is
get
there like a timer on
Right.
the fucking planet where can't call it planet. What are we then?
Yeah.
We're a dome?
How do you get in
We're
a
a dome.
space where you get less sunlight one point of the year and more sunlight another part of the year?
Fuck all that even. Like, how do we have night and day?
Snigger Niggardly says David Lee Roth period was the best Van Allen of all time. There you go. Orc King says they played golf on the moon, April, so it is totally real. They also found Transformers in the documentary I saw once.
See, now you sound like a retard. Like, that's not
He's
insulting
purposely
to
sounding
me.
like a retard, April.
Yeah.
King of All Yeti says the equation for the Earth's curvature does not work in real life. That's just it works fine. You know how I know? Because it's round.
What are you, a scientist?
Yes, I'm not getting into this today. You're not dragging me into flat Earth and the moon.
I want people to stop calling it a planet if this is a flat thing. We're just a dome or we're a fucking Nilla wafer. And there's no space. And what are we like what do they think we're doing? Like you can't just sit like a fucking, you can't sit like a Nilla wafer in space and have anything work out for you.
Battle
right?
Brother
I
Zio
don't know.
says, Aaron, the list of flat earthers you can use as a segment for the show. No! Roarster with $20 says, good morning. Thank you, Roarster, for making me feel better. 265 away from today's goal. There you go, boys and girls.
Thank you.
Keep contributing to our
Good morning.
program. We'll knock this goal out, and Rumble will look more and more tantalizing by the day. I love that we can have open conversations without worrying about if somebody's going to fuck us hard in the ass.
There you go. Daniel got it. We live on a pancake now. I don't want any of you guys to call this a planet if you think it's a flat Earth. It's not a planet anymore. Planets are round.
Stop entertaining this nonsense.
We live on a pancake. Smells like buttermilk. It's
RGZ Max
delicious.
says they tell you the truth right in front of you, and idiots just sit there and don't believe what they're telling you, that they've never been there. All right, here.
Yeah, let's look it up. then.
No!
This is it now. This is the
Did
show.
NASA say we didn't go to the moon? Why did we stop going to the moon? Apollo 11 was a political statement in the midst of the space race, and once it had been made, the necessity for more missions to the moon was gone. Right. We spent a fortune, way more money than we should have, just to put a flag on the moon so we could tell the Soviets to suck our dick. And then after that, we went, yeah, guys, there's really nothing we can learn from the moon. It's just we kind of know everything from observing it. So we're not going back. Moon landing theories debunked. Now fuck you guys. Now I'm doing it.
Well, this is interesting.
Shadows in the moon landing photos, images were faked. Take a look at the image below at the full panorama on the NASA website. Look closely at the shadows cast by astronaut Neil Armstrong and another object just out of shot. What's wrong with them? Okay, there's shadows.
I know what's wrong with them. What do you see? Don't read.
Oh, I would have never gotten that. They're not parallel.
Right. One's doing this, the other's doing this.
Okay.
You can't have that usually, unless you have two light sources. You could have two light sources, one's shining in this way and then the other one's coming at that other object.
The image has been taken as proof by conspiracy theorists that the moon landings were faked. Surely, if the sun were the only light source, then the shadows should be parallel.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't this prove that the whole scene was mocked up in a studio with multiple light sources creating different shadow patterns? Interesting, right?
Of course.
Well, no. This is on the surface of the moon, but we can reproduce this effect anytime we want to on Earth, said Professor Oja. You have seen all this phenomenon yourself, where because of perspective, parallel lines appear to be non-parallel. If you are trying to reduce onto a two-dimensional plane, a three-dimensional situation, you can make lines do all sorts of weird things. Artists have been using this for centuries. Go outside when the sun is low in the sky and see this effect for yourself. Just like the images from Apollo 11, the shadows will not be parallel. I was just going to say, I've seen this before too. I've been out in the sun and there's been like a building or something next to me and my shadow, and they don't line up.
No, they end up crossing.
Happens all the time. Shadows on conspiracy theory 2. Apollo astronauts could not have survived Earth's radiation field. This one I love the most. Earth is surrounded by a zone of charged particles known as the Van Allen radiation belt. These are regions surrounding the Earth in our magnetic field where our high-energy trapped particles from the sun tend to get confined. What that means is that you're going into these regions, there are extremely high radiation concerns. If that is the case, how did the Apollo astronauts travel through the Van Allen belt and out of Earth's orbit unharmed? Surely the amount of radiation would have killed them. Doesn't this prove that the moon landings were a hoax? My answer to that is firewalking, says Professor Oja. If you've ever done firewalking, you'll know the one thing you don't do is linger around in the middle of a fire pit. You cross as quickly as you can. From a science point of view, as long as you walk across quite quickly, looking at the thermal conductivity of your feet, you are not going to have enough thermal energy going into the soles of your feet to burn you. You are absolutely fine. Just don't hang around in the middle. In a similar way, the transit time through the Van Allen radiation belt right at the beginning of the Apollo voyages was incredibly short. Traveling through the Van Allen radiation belt, if you are going fast enough, which you need to be if you're going to the moon, is no problem whatsoever. Right. You're through the Van Allen radiation belt so quick that you don't get exposure to enough to even make it harm you.
Okay.
Why are there no stars in pictures of the NASA moon landings? Well, there's no light in space. Wouldn't you need light to see stars?
You do need some sort of light, yeah.
Yeah.
There's no reflection.
If the image was really taken on the moon, shouldn't the sky be filled with stars? After all, there is no atmosphere to distort the image, no clouds to interrupt that glorious view. Conspiracy theorists argue that the lack of stars in the... Well, here's my problem with this conspiracy theory before they even debunk it.
Okay.
You don't think if they were faking the fucking moon landing, they wouldn't edit in some stars? If they were going to... You think they were putting on this great ruse to convince people we went to the moon, and this was all in a what do you call it, a stage thing in a sound studio, and they released the whole thing. They're like, guys, I think we fucking nailed it. We pulled off a movie set here. We landed on the moon. We're gonna send it off to people, and then they sent it off, and the one thing they forgot was fucking stars. No, don't be dumb. Don't be thick in front of me, Al.
No, it's just that conspiracy theorists do really need to grasp onto the tiniest of things. They do.
You guys nailed just about everything on COVID, but sometimes you get too big for your britches.
Yeah, you do have to pick your battles.
Yeah, here's another solution. Both the astronauts and the lunar landscape itself are brightly lit by the sun. The sky may look black, but remember, this is in fact daytime on the moon. If you're going to take a photo of a brightly lit scene, your camera's shutter speeds need to be fast and your aperture incredibly small. In that situation, faint objects like stars simply aren't going to show up. There you go. I would say it would be more of a conspiracy if there were stars in the background. Then you would be like, "Hey, wait." And that's my thing with the we didn't go to the moon people is the whole like everything to them is part of the conspiracy. So if there were stars, they'd make that part of the conspiracy. They go, "Well, if your shutter speed isn't fast enough, you can't capture stars on film." Conspiracy theory 4, the Apollo 11 US flag is waving in the wind, but there's no wind on the moon. Can I try this one?
Go
If you
ahead.
bump that flag or shake it and there's no wind, there's also very little gravity, so that flag will continue to flutter and move until it's met with some kind of resistance.
Well, yeah, the fact that there's no gravity means it'll keep it up
Right.
too.
Law of gravity, an object in motion stays in motion until it's met with a resisting force. So if you've got a flag and he shakes it or he touches it or he moves it in any way, it'll keep moving. Buzz Aldrin saluting the proudly waving American flag on the moon remains one of the iconic images of the Apollo 11 mission. But if there is no atmosphere on the moon, there is no wind. So why is the flag waving? Look again at the image, and in particular along the top edge of the flag. You'll find the answer. A telescope pole has been extended along the top in order to make the flag fly proudly. Yes, NASA did think of everything. Because it's been set up like this, it appears to be waving in the wind. All the wrinkles are there because it's literally been screwed up for 4 days en route to the moon. Okay, so they put this telescope thing
You
here.
can kind of see it. Like, you can see how, like, stiff that is. Like, there's a
Yeah,
pole
right
being
there. This pole right here.
Well,
Is that what they're talking
no,
about, or
they're
they put
talking about
one?
across the top of the flag,
Oh, that thing right
so it
there.
doesn't because if there was nothing to telescope that out, it'll sit like this potentially
Right. Okay. So right there, they had to. Okay,
because it's so light. Yeah.
they had to literally prop the flag up with the telescope rod. Okay, well that makes sense. There. Okay, well that one's good too. I wasn't supposed to be doing this right now. Why have we never been back to the moon? It never happened, but this was no grand conspiracy. This was geopolitics. The answer is we changed our priorities, said the professor. From a combination of the Vietnam War, but also there was this geopolitical element of thinking. We've won the race. Just as we'd got good at doing science on the moon, we abandoned it. Instead, attention turned to the space shuttle program and laterally the International Space Station, which has been permanently inhabited by teams of astronauts since November 2000. That doesn't mean humans couldn't return in the future. Well, there you go. And see, I did that. I have convinced absolutely nobody on either side that it did or did not happen. That's why I didn't want to get into it. And now here I am. Don Lemon's AIDS, where does the gravity come from? It's all a psyop. Magnets, how do they work?
Yeah, somebody said you're just gullible.
I am just gullible.
I don't know, and somebody keeps repeating like, "Well, but the NASA guy said we never made it." Well, what if it's just one disgruntled NASA guy that said that?
What if it's just one
What if
dick?
you're gullible?
Approachable says, yes, Mr. Imholt. I was just wondering if you would answer the question my mod colleague has asked. Is there anything you can say about the moon landing? I'm referring you to the Department of Justice and their statements on the moon landing. Aaron put the flat earthers on blast. You'll triple your viewers. Yeah, we're up to 900 with the flat earth. Wonderful.
It's interesting. I do like shit like this.
I'm not doing flat earth today.
King of all Yetis and says gravity has never been proven. That's why it's still a theory.
What? Here, ready? Guys, ready? I'm going to get ready for a scientific moment on this show. Hold on. Hold on. Let me do something.
Look at these arms of yours.
I am going to take gravity from a theory to a law right now. I mean, we do have a thing called
I can try.
the
Can I
laws
try?
of gravity. Let's do it together. Hold on. Let's play the music. Here we go.
Here, I'll do it with something bigger. So
Guys, we are about to have a big scientific moment here on Steel Toe. Are you ready?
Yes.
Just wait for our music here.
Wow, you are a needy bitch.
And then we got to do this with some pomp and circumstance. All right. Watch as we prove here on Steel Toe that the theory that if something goes up, it must come down Are you ready? And an object that's met with motion will stay in motion until met with a resisting force. April, stand up.
Hold on, I'm in a thing.
On three.
Wait, what am I doing?
1, 2, 3. Oh my God, I came back down. April stuck to the floor. Gravity pulled her down so hard. Oh my God. Ladies and gentlemen, gravity has been proven here on Steel Toe. This is incredible. A scientific moment for all mankind. Wait, you want another one? I'll do it again. Ready? Oh my God. Oh my God. Gravity's all over. Gravity's gonna kill us. Holy shit. Look at that. Oh my God, more gravity. Holy shit. Ah, that's a gravity thing. Oh my God. Shaka, is there gravity? Oh my God, Shaka's gravity. It's all gravity. I just like it when we can do science experiments
Tiny hat.
here on our show. Oh God, why did you put that on my head?